What is up, guys? Fado82 coming at you with a weekly Rust update video. What you're taking a look at right now is some footage of the SAW M249 light machine gun, which has been added into the Rust dev server. It'll be live in the main game with next week's patch, so what you're seeing and hearing right now could change by the time that it goes live next week, but here's what we can tell you so far, guys. It's a badass piece of machinery. If you want to go ahead and acquire it, you can only get it currently through the downed helicopter event, so you're going to have to bring a helicopter down in order to acquire one of these. In terms of the ammo, it uses 5.56 rounds, just like the bolt action or the AK-47. It can use the standard bolt rounds or the high velocity or incendiary rounds, so it can use any variation of the 5.56 rounds that you have. It has a magazine capacity of 100 rounds, so the drum on this bad boy will carry 100 5.56 rounds into battle. The recoil on it is substantially more than the AK. It is better if you're kneeling down than if you're standing up, so you can do better groupings if you kneel down and aim rather than standing up. It's wildly inaccurate when you're standing and firing. In terms of the weight of the gun, guys, it doesn't appear to have any more weight to it at this point in time, so if you're running with it, it doesn't slow you down. Hopefully that'll change in the future. In terms of the rate of fire, it's going to be slightly slower than the AK, but not to the point where it's really noticeable. It's very snappy and it reloads a little bit on the slow side, so you guys want to keep that in mind when you're using it. As we stated, it can only be found through the downed helicopter event. Initially, it had a value with it in terms of crafting materials. It was 50 high quality metal, 200 wood, and you could go ahead and craft this bad boy. Now, you had to find it through the downed helicopter, and you could actually research the item that you found. Since that point in time, guys, since we took this footage, there was actually a commit on the Twitter page for the Face Punch Studios, and they actually said that Helk made it so that it's not user craftable at this point in time. So the footage you're looking at in a moment after we find it here from the helicopter drop might not hold true in 2 weeks, although I hope that it does. Here's why. We did a lot of testing with it in the time that we could, and what we found is it's not a wildly overpowered item. It didn't have such a gnarly rate of fire, and it wasn't super accurate, so it wasn't something that we felt like it was too OP and that users shouldn't be able to craft it. I do agree it should only be able to be acquired potentially through that downed helicopter event because it fits in with the helicopter, but I feel like players should be able to craft it. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be used by everyone because the AKs and the bolts are still going to be more accurate and precise. But what do you guys think? Do you think it should be able to be crafted or not be crafted? I know a lot of you haven't had a time to really play around with it yet, but leave some comments below, guys. Let's get a discussion going on that and just see what we think. In the future, that's going to be able to be integrated into the auto turret from that concept art that you guys are taking a look at. Next week in Rust, when the attack helicopter decides to bukkake you with its hot load of napalm, you're going to notice that napalm's sticking around for a bit longer, and it's going to be more of an event that you're going to have to contend with. Next week, you guys are going to notice the AK looks a bit more sexy. It's less grainy than it was before, and the textures have had a complete overhaul. It looks a lot better, guys, a lot more vibrant. I think you'll really enjoy it. You can see the footage here and just see that there's a lot more detail in it. And the AK, I think, is probably the most used gun in Rust, in my experience at least, and it's kind of my go-to gun. The big thing here, though, guys, is that because the model's been redone here, in the future there may be the potential to integrate different grips, magazines, stocks, things like that to make the gun look different, but maybe also function differently in the future too. So that's really cool. That was part of this remodeling, is that it's going to be more versatile and functional, as well as being more aesthetically pleasing. Next week, you guys notice that the torch does much less damage, so you're not going to want to bring your torches to your rock fights. The damage has been greatly reduced, and you can no longer take armored players down in a matter of hits with a torch, so it's going to be something that you guys want to keep in mind. In terms of the torch, it's still an effective weapon, but it's not going to be anywhere near as effective as it was before. Just make sure you don't bring a torch to an M249 fight. You can now throw bones in Rust. Joining the other melee weapons and tools, the Bone Club now has the functionality of being able to be thrown. Just simply hit your right mouse button, you go ahead and lob this bad boy. There's something very satisfying about throwing a bone through the air and having it connect with another player, animal, really anything for that matter. It's hard to aim, but having it connect and make that sound is just very gratifying. You guys are going to notice that it does about the same damage that a rock would do when thrown. Everyone's favorite container, the large wooden storage crate, is receiving some love. In next week's version of Rust, you guys are going to notice the model is more aesthetically pleasing, the wood is more worn, the metal more rusted, and really helps to bring you in line with that aesthetic that Rust goes for. Along the same lines, the water is going to look better as well. It's hard to spot by the naked eye, but as you can see from the before and after shots here, it really helps to add to sort of that living and breathing atmosphere, and it's really something that's going to help to add to the beauty of the world. We saw some really cool concept artwork for an NPC, perhaps PvE threat called the Scientist that would roam around the map. We don't know if it's good, if it's bad, we don't even know if it's human. This is really cool, and I really hope we see something like this in Rust in the near future. I think we need sort of a credible early to mid-game PvE threat, and it's not fucking zombies, and that would be absolutely an awesome piece to see in the game. Guys, if you like Boner and Sweatpants' Safety Crew hoodie, please go ahead and vote for it on the Steam Workshop. As always, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Fado82, peace!